A number of prophecies in the Bible speak about an environmental crisis coming in the last days. Isaiah 24, it says, the earth mourns and fades away, the world languishes and fades away. The haughty people of the earth languish, the earth is also defiled under its inhabitants. The word for defiled could also be translated polluted. Because they've transgressed the laws, changed the ordinances, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore the curse has devoured the earth, and those who dwell in it are desolate. Isaiah 24, verse 4 to 6. Jesus said in the days before his second coming, there'll be great earthquakes in various places, famines and pestilences, there'll be fearful sights and great signs from heaven. There'll be signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars, and on the earth, distress of nations with perplexity. Said before, with perplexity in Greek is aporia. So he's saying there'll be a crisis. Aporia means with no way out. So he's saying there's going to be a crisis which can affect the nations, which there's no way out of. You can't see a human solution to it. This will cause the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them from fear of what is coming on the earth, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. Now when these things begin to happen, look up and lift up your heads, because your redemption draws near. Okay, so Jesus says when you see these things beginning to happen, and they have begun to happen, actually don't get into panic and despair, but look up your heads because your redemption is drawing near. They're the sign that Jesus is coming. And although it's bad news for the world, for those who believe in Jesus, there is a hope, there is a way out, there's an exit. There is a hope, and that is in Jesus Christ. Earthquakes. Well, we've just seen this tragic earthquake in Turkey with some 50,000 people killed. Also been a number of other shocks, not just in Turkey, but around the world with, I think, about 4 or 5 earthquakes with 6 or over on the Richter scale, which is quite high. Different places, Tajikistan and New Zealand, and 1 or 2 other places. Also an increase in volcanoes as seismic activity also. And the UN is actually very concerned about the number of disasters, natural disasters coming on the earth, about 4 times more than 2 decades ago. So that there's increase in floods, droughts, heat waves, fires, hurricanes, tornadoes. Reports said humanity is under threat from a perfect storm of crises. Climate, extreme weather, biodiversity, food and water crises could lead to a systemic collapse. The world is facing a series of water crises, of interlinked emergencies that are threatening the existence of humans. Many of these extreme weather events are happening in places where food is grown, adding to the problems of food production and famine in many parts of the world. And you've seen in the last year, you've seen extreme heat with drought and fires, as well as torrential rain and floods, damaging food production across the world, in Europe, in Africa, North America, South America, China, India, Pakistan, Australasia, about all over the place. It's also not all hot weather. There's also been a dramatic increase in very cold weather, which they don't tell you so much about. But during the last winter, you've had extreme snowstorms and blizzards hitting Canada, USA, China, Russia, Japan, even some southern countries like Spain, Morocco, and Turkey, into the Balkans, into Turkey, as you saw in the earthquake time. And in the southern hemisphere, they've had some very cold weather as well. In fact, the coldest temperature ever recorded on Antarctica took place in the southern hemisphere winter last year. So it's not all hot weather, sometimes very cold weather. Now they blame this always on what they call anthropomorphic, in other words, man-made climate change, or global warming. But there are some people, including myself, who say that that may have some part to play in it, but there are also other factors, including changes in the sun, the ocean currents, and the jet stream, the wind, which are affecting the climate. Also, there's a weakening of the Earth's magnetic field, which they found out about. And there are a number of things which are beyond our control to have anything to do with. And these they don't tell you so much about. There's a Russian scientist who claimed that the biggest danger facing humanity is global cooling, not global warming. Whether he's right or not, I don't know. But it's very clear that the world is under some kind of stress today, and there are increase of natural disasters. And this ties up with what the Bible says. In fact, in the Revelation, during the tribulation period, it speaks about great heat of trees being burned up, waters becoming undrinkable, fish dying in the sea, as well as violent storms and natural disasters, bringing famine, disease, and death. Revelation 8 says, hail and fire followed, mingled with blood. They were thrown to the earth, and a third of the trees were burned up. Green grass was burned up. A third of the living creatures in the sea died. Then the third angel sounded, and a great star fell from heaven like a torch, and it fell on a third of the waters and on the springs of water. The name of the star is Wormwood. A third of the waters became wormwood, and many men died from the water because it was made bitter. So you can see in those all environmental issues which are facing the world today.